got into vintage audio a year ago, but there's a lot of things he still doesn't know, so he started up a channel on YouTube, and here he is now, the Vintage Newbie. Ba, ba, ba.
Hey gang, welcome to another episode of the Vintage Newbie. Ba ba ba. I'm your host, Vernon Smith, the Vintage Newbie. If you're newbie here, welcome aboard. And if you're not so newbie, welcome back. Glad you can make it. If you like this kind of content, too bad, because I don't really have many more of these left to do, because I'm kind of running out of equipment to talk about. And I'm running out of space to put more if I got it. And I don't have the money to get more because I'm, like 800 subscribers away from even beginning to get monetized. So I guess I should have been pushing that more, but oh well. Today, I'd like to talk about a new piece of equipment that I ended up with. A buddy of mine gave it to me. He picked it up at a thrift store at a Goodwill, which normally, at least in this area, you can't really find anything at as far as vintage stereo equipment goes. This one was in a rather well-to-do neighborhood, but I've hit that one before and usually haven't found shit. But he found this one, and it was giving him some troubles. He had it kind of taken apart, and then one day he just hit me up and was like, I'm never putting this thing back together. If you want it, come get it. And I was like, sure. What is it? You may or may not be asking yourself, probably not. It is the Sansui 7000 from Sansui. It's from, I believe, around 1971. I haven't found a whole lot of information about it online. And it's been a few weeks since I looked it up, because that's whenever I got it. And I've just kind of been playing with it and trying to learn what I can about it here and there. But I believe these were available only on military bases overseas during that time. So thank you for your service and for your stereos, soldiers of the Vietnam era. I'm not in the military and never have been, but everyone in my family is either cops or military. Somehow I ended up as a comic book artist. I don't know. But even those of us that weren't ended up marrying somebody who was. Like two of my cousins both married either cops or servicemen. My own wife is retired Navy. So, yeah, this thing I believe was kind of a precursor to the Sansui 8. They have different interiors, like this one's couple capacitored or something, couple capacitored. I don't really know what that means, but I've heard it. And the later ones are direct capacitors or something like that. So if you know what that means, good for you. If you want to tell me, leave it below in the comments section, and I'll read it, and I'll say thanks for the info. And I still won't know what you're talking about. That's why I'm called the Vintage Newbie, not the Vintage Old Bee. So let's get a closer look at it and dive right into the functions and features of the Sansui 7000. Special effects. So, here we go. This is the front, a close-up look at the Sansui 7000. First of all, you got your power button. That gives it power and takes it away. Let's give it back. Boom. Look at that. Gorgeous. Moving on, you got your low filter, you got your high filter, and that just cancels out higher and lower frequencies related to things like tape hiss, turntable rumble, and so on. Then you've got the muting button, which is not the FM muting button that kind of gets rid of the whoosh, whoosh, static noise whenever you're tuning between stations. But from what I understand, which isn't a whole lot, that kind of zeroes out your bass and your treble, if I recall correctly. But I might not. So if you know, comment section. Loudness button, to kind of boost up the bass and fill up the sound whenever you're listening at low volume levels. Reverse. I don't really know what this does. We can kill your neighbor, burn your house down. So I'm gonna try and look into that. No, what that does is it kind of corrects for some engineering and recording errors, where like if things were recorded like I don't know, concerts or something maybe, or even like I don't know, whatever, like if the guitar is coming out on the left and the trumpets are coming out on the right, and you're like, that's not how it's supposed to be, you can hit the reverse button and then the guitars will come out on the left and the trumpets will come out on the right. So it just switches. If your receiver is set to stereo and not mono, it will switch out which side the different things that come out of the right and left speakers come out on. Now, if you press in the mono button, then the reverse button doesn't do shit. Tape monitor 1, tape monitor 2, and the FM muting, which, as I said, gets rid of the staticky noise. Normally, with most receivers, that is just off, and then whenever you push it in, it engages it. Whereas this, it's kind of the opposite. It's just automatically engaged, and then you press in FM muting off to turn that off. Moving down here, you got your headphones jack, and this little ring, and also this little ring around the tape dubbing jack, and there should also be another one with the microphone input jack. Those rings are actually what holds the faceplate down at the bottom. There's screws up top to secure it, but if you don't have these little screw-on washer type things, then the faceplate can actually be pulled out at the bottom some. So that's not good. There are no screws that secure it at the bottom. Kind of a weird feature. So I got 2 of them. I need to hopefully find a third one. Maybe I'll just bring one of these to the hardware store. Maybe you don't give a shit, so who cares? You've got your speaker selector switch. You can go speaker A, speaker B, speaker C. That's right, you get 3 inputs of speakers. And you can combine them, but only speakers A and C, or A and B, or A and C. You cannot do speakers B and C. Don't know why. You got your bass and your treble, and so you've got the regular knob here, and then you've got also a secondary one there, and that way you can adjust the bass and the treble in the right and left speakers. So you could have it more bassy on one and then kick it back to the left one. Don't know why. That seems like a very odd feature. You've got your volume knob, and one thing about these knobs, it's not like the kind with the plastic on the inside that kind of slides in. These, as you can see with that right there, these are machined ones that screw on with the little screw bolt. Your balance to adjust right and left. Your microphone recording level for whenever you're recording with a microphone, and possibly the tape dubbing. I've never really messed with that, so who knows. You've got this has 2 phono jacks, so you can connect 2 turntables and a microphone, and that's where it's at. So you can switch to your phono 1, phono 2, FM auto, which is like FM stereo, FM mono, AM, and auxiliary if you had something else besides a tape deck plugged in. You know, like an iPod, an iPhone, a CD player, and stuff like that. And your tuning knob. Now, these early Sansuis have a feature that I am not a big fan of, which is why, though I'm running my old phone into it, I don't have it into the aux. I have it into the Tape Monitor 1, which is why Tape Monitor 1 is selected. Because whenever you switch it to aux, that's all that's lit up. The whole face is blank. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. And it does the same thing whenever you have your turntable 1 or 2 playing as well. So I love the look of the face, so I kind of have that going. Sometimes I switch it off though, because this does have the original incandescent bulbs. I have not switched it over to LEDs, but I probably will, because these lights make the faceplate get pretty warm, and I have read that they also get hot enough to kind of burn out some of the circuitry on the inside, and I don't want it to burn out any of the circuitry on the inside or on the outside for that matter. Another cool feature about these, so a lot of stereo equipment, you know, it has the letters and they're like just silk screened on, which can be a bit of a hazard if you need to do like a really deep cleaning on something. Say it came from a smoker's house, or just like was left to the elements and is messed up, and then you're like scrubbing, then all of a sudden, oh shit, the lettering's coming off. The lettering, not sure if you can hear that, it is etched in. That is super cool and heavy duty and stylish. I like that a lot. It's a neat feature. This thing is pretty heavy. It's like 35 pounds or something for just a regular receiver. It is 70 watts per channel, so it is the most powerful receiver I have, because this Pioneer and that STA90 are both 45 watts, and that STA77 is 16 watts. So this bad boy here is pretty powerful. How does that power sound? Well, let's see. I can turn on the radio and see if we can get some soundage. Yeah, that's on 1. So, pretty good for just a little phone microphone. So that kind of concludes it for this, I suppose. I can't think of any other features. Oh, it does actually have a speaker limiter switch. I think that's what it's called on the back, that limits the power that goes to the speakers to kind of help reduce the risk of, if you have several sets of speakers playing at the same time and maybe they're low ohmage as well, keeps you from blowing your receiver. Because I blew my receiver one time.
He needed the money. Oh!
My old Techniques that is not featured here because, yeah, I was running 2 sets of 6 ohm speakers because I didn't know any better. And now that thing is fried. And so I sold it for $30, which is a lot less than I paid for it. That was a sad song. So we'll wrap this up, and I'll see you on the other side of the camera. Okay? Okay. Well, that concludes another rambling, riveting episode of The Vintage Newbie. I think I've got a couple of more things to talk about. Yes, actually, these speakers right here. The Nova 7Bs. Realistic. From Radio Shack. Maybe that'll be the next one. Probably will be. Because I haven't discussed those yet. And I actually did some work on them. So let's see how that went. But you'll have to come back next time for another episode of The Vintage Newbie. Have a blessed day.